Okay, so can we just talk about what was it like transitioning from Zoe 101 to creating your own
Zoe
personal
101.
work? We're going down this.
Oh my god.
How's the light? Is it bright enough? The sunset's so beautiful right now.
We're good? Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're talking about Zoe 101.
Are we getting hearts about Zoe 101 right now? Okay. Where are the hearts? I want to hear some. I'm going to hear the hearts. I want to see some hearts.
Okay, so you left Zoe 101. We'll talk about why, but first, what was it like transitioning from that into your own personal work?
Okay, so wait, what are we going to first? How I left?
Sure.
I guess we should start from there.
Sure. Why did you leave Zoe 101?
It was awful. It was, sorry, I just want to be real. Like, that was probably the worst. No, there's been some ones that have
your
been
character looks so happy all the time.
I think that's the sad part about it. It's like Nicole's a beautiful, amazing, sweet friend, person, character that I love deeply, and I still have aspects of Nicole. Like, Nicole was me in a lot of ways. Like, Nicole wasn't even... I mean, to be honest, I watched many episodes of the OC, and I tried to make Nicole a lot like Summer from the OC, and that's kind of what inspired Nicole in a lot of ways. So shout out to
the OC.
OC.
For sure.
But Nicole had a lot of qualities that I still have and definitely had at the time. And it was a really amazing experience getting to know Nicole, but the experience on set ended up being drastically different than how I felt about Nicole. I got the show and was super excited. I was more excited to meet people my age because I was homeschooled a lot of my life, and I wasn't around a lot of people my age. I kind of grew up more around adults, and so I never really had the opportunity to know about people that were like my age. And so getting into that experience with Zoe 101, I was super excited. I was like, oh cool, I'm going to be surrounded by finally people my age, and we're going to hang out, and we're going to go to the movies, and we're going to da-da-da. And I was like so excited and talk about maybe boys with the girls, not with the guys, because they were talking about boys, they were talking about girls at the time. But I was really excited about that experience to get to have friends for the first time. So I was really isolated with being homeschooled. And so going into that, I was very excited. And then reality kicked in, and I discovered that the lead character on the show, who was supposed to be my best friend on screen, didn't really want to be my best friend in real life. And she was a little bit just distant from me, and I wasn't expecting that, and it kind of made me feel certain ways. But I kept trying to reach out to her, and like I asked her to go and have like sleepovers with me or to go to the movies, and she didn't really want that, and it was kind of a bummer because then when we were filming, we had to act as though we were best friends, and that was fine. Like, I was used to acting my whole life, so it wasn't like I couldn't pretend that that was the case, but it surely wasn't. And there was a character on the show who played Dana, and Dana was older than us, and Dana played like kind of a mean girl kind of character that kind of had maybe a soft spot in there that we had to like find, which I'm sure that probably is the truth with her, to be honest. But while I was working on the show, Zoe and Dana in real life, which was Jamie and Kristen, started acting kind of like as a unit, and I was kind of left out. And they would have sleepovers and all these different things, and then I was never invited to any of them, and it was a sad kind of realization to deal with at a young age. Like, obviously these are things when you're older, you're like, oh, what's the big deal? Like, who fucking cares about that? But like when you're younger, it was sad because I really did want to be friends with everybody, and I felt very left out. And once that the other cast members started seeing that was what was being portrayed by the lead character, they wanted to impress the lead character, which I understand, and so they started acting like that too, and so everyone just kind of started becoming a clique, and I was really left out. So I would spend most of my days like in my trailer with my mom, eating lunch and everything, because no one would sit with me, kind of, which was a horrible experience in general. It was like awful, but it started to escalate, and all of a sudden every day I was on set, they would kind of team up together and tell me if I was like an alien because I was so nice, and they would make fun of me for smiling too much, and just like a lot of digs kind of on a regular basis. And it was starting to beat up my self-esteem, and I would cry to my mom every night. And my mom finally reached out to, you know, the adults that were behind the camera, and literally every single adult was like telling my mom that I need to grow up, which, okay, that's totally fair, but I was 12 years old and I wasn't grown up yet, and I was balancing having to be a certain way on screen and balancing like how I was emotionally being charged off of, you know, behind the scenes. And it was a very hard thing to balance, and for a child it really starts to mess with your psyche in a lot of different ways, and creates a lot of self-doubt and self-worth issues and yada yada. And I felt like nobody was on my side. Like nobody even wanted to go like, I'm so sorry, like it's okay, like this is what happens sometimes, like, you know, it's part of being a teenager, or like whatever it is. Like there was even just like no comfort whatsoever. So I just felt like my mom was the only person that was giving me the comfort, and I had to show up on set and just always put a good face on and act like nothing was wrong. And that was a very hard process to experience.
So why did you end up leaving the show?
I'm getting there. It's a thing. So
It's a journey.
Light.
Want some light? Are we losing light?
Bye,
We're
son.
gonna have to move through. We're gonna have to move to another space.
Okay.
Because now this is a Zoe 101 chapter, and this is gonna be like,
The whole chapter.
this is gonna be a whole different chapter. We're gonna have to go into the. How are we? Should we move?
Yeah, let's walk.
Okay, let's walk.
All right.
All right.
Let's walk and talk.
Oh my! Let's walk and talk. All right.
Okay.
Putting the shoes on. We're moving through time and space. Let's go. Oh my god. Let's out the wine.
And
Oh. Okay, we're moving. We're moving. We're going. The cord is connecting you.
okay, I'm gonna film you, Alexa.
No, we're going here?
Yeah.
No, come next to me. You're not filming.
But I want to see let's see what people are saying. I want
No,
to.
once we get there, we're not there yet. We have many questions to go before we get there. I want to properly talk about this. I don't want it to be just like this kind of, do you want to sit maybe here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can everybody see us and hear us right now? Is everyone good? Okay. All right. So, the last episode of the first season, there was an episode where me and Dana, the character Dana, had to basically go behind a rock and then like emerge from behind these like huge rocks in Malibu, or Zuma Beach. I think it was Zuma Beach. We had to like come around them. And it was just me and her, and I was so nervous to be like alone with her because the cameraman and everybody else was very, very, very far away. And we had to like run, you know, to them. I forgot what we were even doing. But anyways, we go behind the rock and there's nobody there, and she pushes me into the rocks. And, you know, just started telling me some like not so nice things, and I heard action, and then we had to like run and pretend we were like friends all of a sudden, which was a trip. And we did the scenes, and then afterwards like ran to my mom and I told her, and then, you know, obviously she went to the adults of the show and told them like this is what happened, and I don't feel like my daughter's safe anymore because now everyone's kind of not being so kind to her. And what is this about? And so we need to have a mediator. Like somebody has to sit down with them and have them talk to each other and just settle it. Like Alexa doesn't not like anybody. Like it seems like everyone's just not liking her, and like why don't we just have a conversation about it? So my mom kept begging for a conversation, but nobody wanted to have the conversation. So eventually I found out right before season 2 that Dana was no longer on the show. And I felt like kind of safe in that way. I was like, oh, maybe that dynamic between, you know, Zoe and Dana, like Jamie and her, like maybe if that's not there anymore, maybe we'll have some peace for season 2, and like we can move forward and really get along and just like enjoy the process of working together. It was chill for the first like few episodes, and there were still, I still didn't feel like I could talk to Jamie, you know, like that was just not a reality whatsoever. She didn't want to hang out with me. So that was fine. And I kind of just got used to it at that point. Like, I'd sit with my mom, we'd talk. Sometimes I would talk to Sean Flynn, who was, like, very nice to me at that time. And, like, sometimes the boys were pretty chill. And it was okay. I found, like, the rhythm of it. And I found, like, where I felt safe. But then I became very close friends with Victoria Justice because Victoria and I have known each other for a long time because our parents knew each other. So we were really close. And I was like, yay, I finally have a friend on set. And, like, me and Victoria were, like, super close. Like, every day, hanging out. We had sleepovers. And I was like, yay, I finally got... We're finally going to movies. We're talking about boys. We're, like, doing all the things that sounds silly. But we were finally doing the things that, like, I wanted to be doing at that age, you know? And we got into, like, a weird dispute. Like, I don't even know. I think it was about a boy. It was hilarious. And I wasn't even arguing with her. It was just, like, something weird happened one day. And all of a sudden, I got to set. And it was bad. Like, she was whispering to everybody and just saying things about me and not being friends with me anymore. And I was like, oh, no. This is going to be even worse than it was before. And I was so scared. But I was like, okay, whatever. Everyone told me just to be professional. Like, that's what they tell kids, by the way. Like, you be professional. And what the fuck is professional to a kid? I don't know. You know? What is, like, I don't even think I knew what that word was when they were telling me. I was like, professional. You know? Okay, I'm just going to smile. Then the whole time, I guess that's what it means. Like, just to not pretend that nothing bad is happening. Or you're not, like, feeling a certain kind of way. And then we got to the last episode, and I was in my trailer with my mom, and usually when you're a minor on set, they have to bring you, they basically have to tell the guardian, which is your parent, exactly where they're taking you, and you can't take any detours because you're a minor. So, like, the first AD's job is to be like, okay, I'm taking her from this spot to makeup and hair.
Yes.
And so Ian was his name, Ian. He was like, came to the trailer, knocked, as usual, and was like, hey, I'm going to take Alexa to makeup and hair. We're going to start filming. Mom was like, cool, Alexa can go. So I'm walking with Ian, and he's like, wait. I could tell, like, energetically there was something weird happening, but I wasn't sure what it was, but I remember thinking, like, why is he nervous? And we were walking, and he goes, wait, and, like, he kind of, like, went like this to me. He was like, Jamie wants to talk to you in her trailer. And I remember looking at him going, when the hell, I mean, I wasn't thinking hell then, but like, when would Jamie, like, ever want to talk to me, you know? It seemed strange. I was like, okay, maybe she's finally down for the conversation, though. Like, maybe she's inviting me in and we're going to settle. Like, whatever, however she feels, she'll say however she feels and how I feel or whatever. And he was like, so go. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, Jamie's in there. She's ready to talk to you. And I remember thinking, like, maybe my mom should have known. Like, why didn't he say to my mom that if he knew that the whole time that Jamie wanted to talk to me, like, why didn't he tell my mom? And so I went up the stairs, and I remember opening the door, and I saw someone that looked like Jamie run to the back of the trailer. And she was the one who had the biggest trailer than all of us. She had, like, one of those big ones. We had, like, the smaller ones, but she had the big ones. So she, like, ran to the back, and I was like, that's weird. Why is Jamie running? And I walked in, and then I hate it because I'm an adult.
Let's go inside. Oh, light. It's okay.
Is it dark?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're moving again through time and space. This is...
It's a cliffhanger.
Oh my god, it's a cliffhanger?
Yeah.
This is getting... When this actually starts.
Dad can, like, be with my mom, though.
Why don't we just set it up in the room? Here. Unplug it. Don't end it. I'll talk to him. How do I... this is how I swap it. Okay, so we're moving. So... It continues. Okay. I know, it's about to get deeper, though.
Bugs just...
What happened? Internet. Oh, there we go. Okay. Like that. That feeling of being under a spotlight makes me feel like I'm being investigated. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm very happy that everybody is here and listening. By the way, I'm glad whoever showed up for the actual live stream of this. It makes me feel very happy that everyone's here. Because it's a weird conversation. And I don't really like the conversation. Okay, so I guess, continued. So 13-year-old me. Okay, so I'm like, picture 13-year-old Alexa.
I'm seeing it, yeah.
13-year-old Alexa. I like walk in and I think like, oh, maybe I'm supposed to like sit on the couch and like wait for her because like she ran to the back.
It's just a completely empty large trailer with the first AD by your side.
No, the first AD left me.
You just open the door.
And told me to go in there.
Just go in there.
With no guardian.
Okay.
That's what's... And that's... You can't do that on
So
set.
so there was no one... You walked in, no one's in there.
No one's in there. Well,
Okay.
no, Jamie ran across.
Right. You saw someone
I saw
run to
Jamie.
the back. You saw her run to the back.
And I felt like it was Jamie, yeah.
Okay.
And then I like sat down.
Yeah.
I remember just going, okay, maybe she has to go change really quickly because we are about to go on set. So like I was just like, okay, maybe that's just the case. And she like ran to the back, and then I sat down and I was just like waiting, for her to come out. And I was like, Jamie, and then all of a sudden, I'll never forget the image because like Brittany just like came out, and she was like kind of in just like a bralette kind of like thing. And you can sit down there if you want and just like zoom into us. You don't have to stand. Go back where you stand. She like just ran at me, and I don't want to go.
Ran at you?
Yeah, like this close, and started like berating me and telling me that she was going to make sure that nothing came of my career, and that she was going to make sure of it, and that nobody messes with her sister. And the whole time I'm just thinking Victoria in my head, because I'm like, how does she think I never wanted to mess with her sister? There's no messing with her sister. Like, there's never been a conflict. It's just like, I've been trying to be friends with her and I've gotten no results from it, And she was like, nobody messes with my sister, and she's screaming at me, and then I start like getting sick to my stomach, and I started to puke a little bit. And I tried to like run to the door, and like she's blocking and she's still yelling at me, and I like freeze up, and I'm just like horrified by the whole experience. I don't know what to do. And then at the same time I'm thinking in my head like, oh, I loved Britney Spears when I was younger, and like she was somebody I looked up to at that time. So like to have her not like me felt awful. Like I all of a sudden was like, maybe I'm not somebody that should be liked, because if like my idol from when I was younger doesn't like me, like that sucks. Like what a horrible feeling. And so like all these things are going through my head. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like trying to figure it out. And then she was kind of grossed out by like me being sick, and like I was begging her to like get out of there, and she like finally like unlocks, and she's like, go. And I like ran to my trailer. I remember like not being able to like see anything. It was just like everything was like super blurry. I was like running to the trailer, and I ran in and I went right to the toilet and I started puking. And my mom's like, what the hell is going on? She like comes behind me and she's like, Alexa, tell me what's going on. And I was like trying to find the words, but I couldn't find any. Like everything was coming out as gibberish, and it's horrible.
At what point in the season was this?
Like season 2.
But
this
like,
was spring break, I think. I think it was called the spring break episode. Surprisingly enough, it was our last day.
It was your last day of shooting.
Which is basically what Britney Spears was like telling me. It was like, after this, you're done.
Right.
Like,
and
I will make sure that nothing happens.
And then tell me about the experience when you were taken into the boardroom at Nickelodeon.
So, well, let me rewind a little bit, because I want to get to Dan.
Okay.
So my poor mom, like, I hope there's like some mom out there like understands, like if your daughter comes in and she's like throwing up and like you have no idea where she just was, and like my mom was so scared for me. It was so, I will never forget my mom's face, because she just didn't know what happened to me, you know? And so I remember her like opening like the trailer, and she like screaming like Ian, and like screaming Dan, and just like screaming anybody, like what happened to my daughter? you know, and she's like, she can't talk. And so then Ian's nowhere to be seen. Ian flees. Fucking Ian. Ian just dipped out. Ian, like, knew what he just did, and he was like, listen, I'm out of here. Like, and he was really close friends with the Spears. Like, he was very close with them. I'm pretty sure, like, they even hired. Like, they was very close. And so he just dipped. He was gone. So my mom was like, anybody? So then there was, like, another, like, PA or somebody that was like, what's going on? Like, I had no idea what was going on. And my mom was like, can you please get Dan? Get Dan here immediately. Get the producers here immediately. Someone needs to figure out what just happened to my daughter. So the PA is like, sure, okay. And, like, they're all in their walkie-talkies. And, like, you can just hear the chaos through, like, the walkies. It's just, like, find Dan, find this person. And we waited for a while. And the whole time my mom was like, what happened? I couldn't really tell her what happened. And I was like, I kind of almost want to wait because I remember hearing it in my mind. Like, I finally want the adults on the show to, like, understand what I'm going through. Like, now this has escalated too far for me, and, like, I'm hoping somebody's gonna come now and be like, let's solve this problem. It's gone too far. Someone's being bullied on a regular basis. They've come out to you, like, they've reached for help multiple times, and, like, now it's gone too far. So one of the executives comes in, and they're just, like, so cocky. Like, the way they come in, like, with their, like, Ray-Bans, and they're just like, sorry, like, they just, like, come in, like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, kind of like CSI Miami. Like, when he, like dips down, like, the sunglasses, like, comes through, and he's like, what's going on? Like, doesn't really care. He's just, like, getting paid. He just wants to be in and out. Like, let's get to set. It's kind of his like, I understand that's how they're trained. Like, let's just get this moving. And I'm, like, sick, and my mom's telling him the scenario and, like, saying, like, she won't say what's happening. So then finally Dan walks in. And Dan has not helped the entire time. And I don't feel comfortable going into details about what I've seen with Dan or, like, what Dan is. But he comes through and with a smirk on his face. And because he's known the entire time that it was leading to this. He could have prevented this. Like, he could have stepped in and been like, let's be friends here. We're on a kid's show. Like, let's be, like, even though we're kids, like, an adult should step in and be like, let's be friends. Like, how can we settle this? But no, that never happened. And so Dan comes in with, like, a smirk on his face, which he always had with me. Not a nice guy. Comes in, he's like, what's going on? What happened, Alexa? Oh, no, sorry. He goes, what happened now with you, Alexa? As if it's my fault, like, immediately. And I finally start to blurt out, like, what happened. And, like, what happened when I went to the trailer, and what happened. And he was like, you have to go on set. You have to film this last scene. And, like, had no care. He's like, but I have something for you that will probably make you feel better. And I remember being like, what? Like, that's his response? Like, I'm throwing up here. Like, I'm sick to my stomach. This is awful. And his response, I need to get to set, and that, he has something for me that's cool. And he just pulls out, those, like, portable DVD players that you could, like, put a DVD in and watch?
Yes.
He, like, his assistant, like, passes me this DVD thing. And I'm just, like, sitting on the floor, like, I'm in the closet area, actually, because I was, like, so scared I was in the closet area. I'm, like, looking at this DVD player going, like, this fucking DVD player means nothing to me, dude. Like, what? So strange. He's like, okay, so now go on set, and let's finish this scene, and we'll talk about this later. And so yet again, as a kid, I have to, like, be professional, even though I'm distraught and horrified, and literally want to never see the face. Like, I don't want to see the day ever again. Go on set. Everyone's being horrible to me. They start, like, shooting these water guns at me because, like, all the cast members had, like, water guns. And before we even started filming, they're, like, shooting water guns at me and laughing at me. Even, like, after they knew, because Jamie definitely knew what was going on. It was just horrible. And I'm, like, humiliated, just sitting there, like, have to pretend like I'm Nicole, who's, like, smiley and bubbly and, like, loves everybody and doing that. It's, like, a long-winded thing. I'm sorry. But so then afterwards, the execs call my mom and they're like, let's sit down with Alexa and, hear her side of the story and, like, what happened and blah, blah, blah. And so my mom calls my lawyer, which I find out later was in cahoots with Nickelodeon, so she didn't have my best interest in mind. And they're like, yeah, just go and meet up with the execs. It's going to be totally fine. We get to Nickelodeon on Sunset, and there's all the execs there, including Dan, and they asked my mom if I can go in there alone. And my mom goes, no, absolutely not. And I remember going, like, yeah, Mom, like, She's not gonna like leave my side. Like I'm afraid to be around any more adult. I'm afraid. And my mom goes, I have to call her lawyer first. We call my lawyer, and she ends up telling us that it's okay for me to go in there alone. Like, oh, it's fine. Nothing's gonna happen to Alexa. Like, the adults are gonna handle this professionally. Like, I kept hearing that word, professional. Everyone's gonna handle it professionally. Everyone has to handle things professionally. None of that was ever happening. And so she's like, don't worry. Like, Dan's in there, the execs, etc. Like, you're gonna be okay. And I was like, Mom, I really don't want to go in there alone. She's like, I promise. Like, these are adults now. Like, you're not dealing with Jamie. You're not dealing with, like, Dan's sometimes mean and like, but like, he has other people around him now, so everyone will be keeping a watch on this situation, this dialogue. And I go in there, and they literally sit me purposely. Here's a huge table that could seat like Jesus and his disciples. That just like goes across, and then they have like one chair for me on the other side. And I'm like, go sit down, Alexa. And literally the chair was too big for me. I felt so small. I have like, there's like 5 people in front of me that are all adults that are like Viacom and Nickelodeon, and Dan's right in the middle, so like directly across from me. Does not look happy. And basically they just went on this whole thing that it's not Nicole 101, it's called Zoe 101. If I wanted my own show, I should have went and got one. I have to basically be nice to I have to like handle whatever the lead character is dealing with, because I'm a side character and I don't matter when it comes like in industry terms. I have to put on a good face. Like, I can't take it just like it went on and on and on. Like, maybe there was some truth in what, like, Dan was like, maybe there's some truth in what Brittany said. Like, maybe you shouldn't be in this industry. Like, maybe it's too much for you. Like, you can't handle it. It's like fucked up shit. Like, really, really. And it was like for 20 minutes, I'm crying there just listening to all these adults like tell me that I don't really matter, that I shouldn't have been in the industry to begin with, that I don't really have a voice, that everything that I felt is irrelevant, basically, and that I need to be professional and just suck it up. And that's it. And he was like, well, who knows what's going to happen to you? And then they started telling me, like, do you know what happens to kid stars? Like, nothing ends up happening with them. Like, your only chance is, like, continuing the show for a while, because, like, after you're not on it, like, people fall off. And it was just, like, this brainwashing, like, just made me feel like completely nothing. I was just like, nothing. I felt like nothing. Anyways, I left the room, and I was crying. I told my mom I never want to be around those people ever again. I felt absolutely horrible. I knew I was going to have, like, I already knew then, in some way or another, that I was going to need years of therapy or something, because that was just awful experience. I felt like nothing. I felt horrible. I felt really low. Anyways.
And that was the departure off of...
We're going to the public.
Okay.
About the situation.
Okay, you want to sit over here? More light?
Yeah.
Beneki.
You want to find a better spot?
No, this is fine. Well, we can be like this.
I can sit right here and hold it.
No, you're good. You can totally... Okay.
Hello. Let's see what people are asking. Any questions at all? This is deep.
Yeah, no, it's too deep, Miko. Don't go down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
No, you just ask now. You don't need to do that. It's gonna get too crazy. Okay, hello. Hi. That was a wild experience so far.
Oh my God.
This is very candid. This is
so real.
I hope, I don't even know what anyone's saying.
Why did Dana push you? Was Aaron nice? The boys.
You don't have to read every question out loud.
Okay.
Because if I don't want to answer something, like...
Feel you.
Also, here. I need to be able to see. I don't like Dan personally. Thank you so much for telling me that. Come to Peru. I'm so down for good food right now, to be honest with you. I'm like so hungry after being...
food.
Actually, I don't even know if I have an appetite. I feel so drained. We have other questions, though.
This is a great question, though.
Do you think there should be be more in place to protect children? Absolutely. There's something that's coming out soon that I was a part of that you guys are going to see, and I go into way more detail about the situation, which is why I'm not going into detail about what actually I feel about certain people and like etc., because there will be something that comes out where I do go into a little bit more detail. But I do think that kids need to be protected. I didn't feel protected at all being a kid star, and I completely agree that there has to be more protection. I don't know where that really starts, but it's very twisted.
Did you exit the entertainment industry after this?
No, I worked a lot after that. I did mostly drama, more like television series, guest stars. I was on Mad Men, then I had a reoccurring on Walking Dead. I was on Family Guy. I did a bunch of stuff after Zoe 101. It wasn't just like Zoe 101 and then nothing.
So do you want to talk anymore?
They're so cute. All the hearts are so cute. I love all the hearts.
Here we go. Beautiful. What is coming out soon? A documentary? What exactly?
A documentary.
Did the guys support you at all?
Who's the guy? Oh, the guys. No.
Yeah.
No, the guys. Sorry, no offense, but like, you have to make this angle is properly. It's just going up in my head.
Okay.
No, it's fine right here.
Beautiful.
Just tilted.
Okay.
So I can see.
Are
you friends with anybody from the show? Nobody has ever. I've DM'd. What do you say? Slide.
You've slid
into their DMs, and I've tried to like make amends over the years, and nobody's ever reached out to me or anything. So I just kind of, I don't know.
Does this question want to be answered at all?
Why did you say that if you didn't want to be a part of the reboot, especially if Dan was a part of it? I can't really say why I don't. I mean, obviously I told a little bit of like why I don't agree with my personal experience with Dan Schneider and what I've seen, because this is all from my perspective. But I mean, in my opinion, if you watch any of those things, it's creepy.
Is there anything else?
I don't support it. I'm not going to support it.
Did you ever like have a reconnection with Victoria at all after?
No, she's never reached out.
Just from like this one dispute from that boy, pretty much, you guys just stopped being friends.
No one reached out to me. They've always isolated me. They wanted me off the show.
Right.
That's really what I felt like. I really felt like everybody wanted me off of it so that they can just like continue on, which was sad. I felt like, I don't know. I felt like Nicole was I don't know.
Okay. Well, what are you going to be working on next?
So Metanoia is going to come out soon, which I'm very excited about. I really hope that everybody enjoys Metanoia and that they have lots. I hope you have lots to say about Metanoia. I hope it creates a dialogue and a conversation that's interesting and expansive and wonderful, or maybe sometimes not so wonderful. But I hope it brings some kind of clarity, for yourself. But after the release of Metanoia, then we are going to be making a trilogy.
Yeah.
We're going to be making a trilogy on time. So it's going to be it's movies. We just keep it like this. A trilogy on time. It's going to be 3 movies. Basically, it's going to be most likely it's going to be 3 shorts, and then when you put them all together, it'll be 1 full-length film. And that will be next, which will be quite the...
What would you hope to accomplish by telling everyone all of this?
I just want connection, and I want people to not feel alone. That's been my whole thing, my whole life, because I felt always very alone, and I know for a fact that there has to be other people out there that feel alone and sometimes scared and feel like maybe people don't like them, or they want to be understood or heard or whatever. And I wanted to be vulnerable and honest that that's the way that I felt as well, and that no one is alone. We're all kind of experiencing a lot of things simultaneously, and that the only way for us not to feel alone is to connect and to vocalize how they're feeling. And that's what I want to do. I want people to understand that this even happens to people on TV shows that you're watching and you think they're having this wonderful, amazing life and they're celebrities or whatever, and they're going through their own experience. It's almost very similar to someone else's. What, you want to ask me another question? He's like hot on this. He's like, I can hear you breathing that you want to ask another question.
When it says subliminal con, what did that mean?
Ooh, who asked that question? I was
Robert. 2022.
Robert. That was a good question, Robert. Well, I only have a minute remaining.
Yeah, I guess we
have to start a live.